Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm Gamesplaining the Colonists. The Colonists is a wonderful player game released by Mayfair Games late last year. That's 2016. We're currently in May of 2017 for those who are watching this down the track. It is a heavy Euro by a first-time designer named Tim Pulse. I think he's someone to watch. There's some good stuff going on there. I think I like this game. I'm not sure though. It's an entirely engine building game. You start with this little colony of hexes built up on the table, and you've got your own board where you've got buildings which will be the houses for farmers or for other different types of workers, and then you send those workers to work in other buildings on your little colony, and they will every year will produce the goods that building would produce. Fairly straightforward, usual, standard resource management, engine building kind of game. But it goes. It's the epic strategy game. And that word epic is probably the most pertinent word that we have to go on. This game lasts forever. On the box it says it lasts from 30 minutes to 2 hours, 30 minutes to 4 hours, should I say, sorry, depending on how much you play. Now, I've heard reviews where they've played between 9 and 11 hours with 4 players. Now, that's probably fairly extreme, and I imagine, yeah, you probably could get through it in the 4 hours if everyone knew what they were doing and weren't stopping to think or look at the cards and remind themselves of what that does. Each turn you have... Well, sorry, let me break that down a little bit more. There are 4 eras. Each era has 5 or 6 years. I can't remember. Sorry, I videoed the playthroughs a little while ago, so I can't remember the exact numbers. I've done quite a bit of videoing since then. So each era has this 5 or 6 years. Each year has 2 halves, 2 seasons, a summer and a winter. Summer and winter in this game mean nothing. So if you're looking at something like viticulture, summer and winter, you do totally separate actions on the 2 halves of the year. Whereas in the Colonists, they're just a very simple way to split your year up into parts. Now, within each of those parts, in each of those years, or half years should I say, every player will have 3 actions. Those 3 actions are moving your steward, or a little pawn, around the hexes. You can move 1 hex at a time. So you move from this hex to that hex, do whatever it says. Then move to another one, do whatever it says, and move to another one and do whatever it says. If you can't do the action that hex says, you're not allowed to go on it. So that creates a little bit of an intricacy in it. There is a get out jail free in that you can jump to these market cards as a movement, and you don't have to be next to them to do that. So that will help. If you go to a hex where there's a steward of another player, you're going to have to pay that other player some resources depending on which era you're in. Now, if you look at just Era 1, which you can do, you're allowed to play any of the eras. You can start at 1 and go to 2, or you could start at 2 and go to 4. It doesn't matter where you start and where you finish, just decide before you actually start the game. But if you start at Era 1, it's really some tough building of an engine to right from the outset. And if you don't quite grasp your needs at the beginning, you're going to fall behind really quickly. Obviously, you've got another few hours to catch that up, but it's worthwhile knowing that from the outset. The flaw that I've found the majority of people fall into at the beginning of the game is not having enough storage or warehouses to store your resources in. So you're kind of limited with that storage, and the way you use your storage, there's this little bit of storage you get. You start with 3 spots, and then there's a warehouse with 1 spot. You're only allowed to use the resources that are in that storage space. So anything that's in the warehouse has to be able to be moved to the storage before you can use it. So if you've got 3 spots and you need 4 resources, you're simply not going to be able to do it, even though they may exist on your table or in your little area. You then have buildings that will produce resources as you go through the years, and as they produce resources, they produce it on themselves. You can't use them there, but they're produced. So you've got a clear space in this storehouse before you can move stuff over to it. It makes for a really intricate little system of, oh, how do I actually pay for this? I've got to think about this before I actually do the action. You can do this movement between the storehouses and warehouse at any time, unless you're in the middle of an action. So you've got to think of it before you actually move that pawn to the space where you're going to need those resources. the game on the table feels really similar to all of those apps that you have on your iPhone, like Farmville or any of the other apps where you're building up a city. So you're doing something and then you make this building happen, and it's going to produce some goods for you to be able to then put into building another type of building. And that's really what this game is. It's one of those apps on the table. I really like those apps to a point. I always get to the point in those apps where I've played it for a few months and I'd go, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm spending all this time just pushing a button to move something from here to here and make this happen and then build this other thing, and I've just created something, sure, but and then I usually turn it off because I've lost a lot of my life on it. So this is the tabletop version of that. You're building this building, you're building this colony so that you can build more into the colony. I think the biggest issue or problem that this game has is that there's no quick grasp for as many points as you can in the last couple of turns. So with a lot of the Euros, you can see the end of the game coming and you can go, okay, and you start really thinking, okay, in this last turn, I'm going to get 6 points for doing that, but I can get 7 for doing this. And you do the one that's going to get you the more points. Whereas with this game, it's not... I don't get that moment. I don't get that tension of the last couple of turns going, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I'm going to have to finish this off real quick. I'm going to have to do something more. Because everything you're doing is building an engine. So you just build your engine as big as you can in the hopes that you're going to get as many points as possible. I don't know, like, I mean, I guess it's satisfactory, I guess that's an end of the game, and we score the game, and there's a little bit of a point salad. It's only a tiny point salad, because there's only about four or five different spots that you're going to draw points from, but I don't know, it's lacking that at the end of the game. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun game. It's an experience of a game. You're going to go through this and you're going to build this thing, and you get to the end and you go, look what I created, look what I spent all these hours making, or look what I spent this half hour making if you move through super quick and that number's right, which is not my experience so far. Once the game's running, it feels relatively simple to flow. The iconography on the cards is really straightforward and understandable. It's got a picture of the resource you're going to need to use whenever you need to use a resource. All that iconography and stuff that holds people up on this type of game is really straightforward and really well done. Explaining it right from the outset, I mean, the rulebook is substantial. It's a substantial rulebook. It's got so many little intricacies. I've got to be honest, I opened this game up and I punched the thing and I started reading the rules and I put it away. And then I pulled it out and I set it up again and I started reading the rules and started to try and get my head around it. And then I packed it away again. And then I set it up again. And it took me about 3 goes to actually get through playing through the game to understand the game. It's scary when you open the box. Don't be put off by that. Get past that. There's so many different things in there. You don't need them all. There's a really important phrasing in the rulebook that says, only put out the stuff for the eras that you're playing. So if you're only playing Era 1, don't put out anything on the table that is not going to be in Era 1, because it just looks immense. There is too much stuff on the table for people to kind of focus. You want to keep the focus. In Era 1, there's only about 6 or so different building types you're going to be able to have. There's only the 2 basic resources and food, and then the 2 produced or created resources, I guess. So wood and clay. Wood creates timber. Clay goes with wood to create bricks. And then you've got food. That's the only resources you need on the table for if you're playing Era 1. In fact, if you're going on to play Era 2, 3, etc., I would not bother getting the rest of the stuff out of the box until you get to those eras. It's just too overwhelming, especially for new players. It's too overwhelming. I definitely would not put this game in front of a player who hasn't played any type of resource management game before, just because of the immensity of it. Yeah, as I say, it's overwhelming. Okay, I think that gives you an idea of my thoughts, at least, on the Colonists. I'm pretty sure I like it. I'm pretty sure I do. Check back with me in a year. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't actually got this to the table with other players. I've managed to play it against myself a couple of times so I can gamesplain it, because I think it's a game that desperately needs a gamesplanation. But I also haven't managed to get it to the table with a group of players, and that's going to be my challenge. I'll check in a year, or in fact, watch my Instagram and Twitter accounts. Sign up to them, follow me. I'm at the Gamesplainer. You hear it at the end of every one of my videos. Follow me. And when I get a picture of this game on there, please like the guts out of it, because it's going to be an effort to get there. I really hope that someone out there is able to get a group who are super keen to play this. I'm pretty sure once I get it played, it won't be a problem. I'll have more people wanting to play it, because, you know, there's something to it. There is something there. So please, follow me. Like it when it happens. I'll stop talking about the colonists now. If you've got any comments or suggestions, please write them below. Subscribe to my videos so you can keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. Actually, I might take this moment just to really quickly say I'm going to start throwing in some midweek videos. They will be either videos that are a playthrough of games that I've already gamesplaned, but before I decided to start doing the playthroughs. So they'll be coming out midweek. Or there will be indie games that are coming out on Kickstarter, or that you've got to go searching for to be able to find. I've only done a Gamesplanation for one indie game so far. That one should have probably been a midweek. So look out for those coming out over the next few weeks. I've just literally done a whole bunch of videos, so we'll be able to get them going for a little while. I hope that is a good thing for you and you enjoy it. Please comment on them. If you want me to do them in a different way, please let me know. But do follow me on all of those channels. Shoot me an email if there's a game that you wish to be gamesplained at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. And until next time, enjoy gaming.